What's going on, YouTube, and welcome back to the channel. So this cut, we're going to be doing a low drop fade, and well, it was supposed to be starting off as a low drop fade, but kind of just getting into it, I kind of took the guidelines and I stretched them out a little too much, and it ended up becoming a mid drop fade. He really didn't mind it, but you know, every dog has his day. I've had a lot on my plate lately, you know, that's why I'm also not posting as much. I'm currently in the transition of separating from the military, so that's why my posting has kind of slowed down. I'm just getting my house ready, pretty much packing up everything, putting it in boxes, and getting ready to, you know, leave and move back to North Carolina. So y'all bear with me. I'm still going to be trying to get these videos out there for y'all. But I just wanted to keep some transparency with y'all with this haircut. You know, it didn't come out as perfect as I wanted it to. I mean, by all means, it's not a bad haircut. It's just not where I wanted it to be. Because I'm very meticulous and picky when it comes to cutting hair. You know, I'm my own worst critic. And before I started fading, I went ahead and did some shear work. It was nothing too serious. It was just me cutting about ½ inch off, just cleaning him up basically, and we're just going to be fading into that. Going in with my 3 guard for debulking, and I'm kind of just going to have this guard float off the side of his head. I don't want to make a guideline with this. I kind of just want to, you know, essentially just, you know, debulk it, obviously, but also try to get that hair to connect to the top. So I will be flicking out a lot and not going straight up with it. I'm going to be flicking out so that way that hair will connect to the top. And right here is where I kind of messed it up for myself. I took this first guideline and I stretched it out too much. And, you know, your first guideline is going to be your foundation. So you want to be very careful on your first guideline because that's kind of going to lay it out for you. But I did stretch this out a little too much. And then going in with my next guard, I kind of did the same thing. So that's why I ended up taking this into a mid fade instead of a low fade. Now to start the process on removing that initial guideline, I usually use a 3-step process. You know, your first step, you're going to be punching in that guideline, you know, with your lever open. And then after that, we're going to be softening it up by moving our lever into the halfway position, and we're going to just flick halfway through that guideline. And once we get it softened up, we're going to close the lever completely, and using our corners, we're going to be flicking at that bottom line. You want to use your corners especially when you got a shape to your guideline. As you can see, you know, it starts at the bottom of the C cup, rounds over the ear, and drops below the occipital bone. So you're going to want to be using your corners a lot. You don't want to take the whole blade to it because that will miss up your shape whenever you are trying to fade out that bottom line. And honestly, for low fades, I will say that this part of getting that fade out is kind of the trickiest one, especially if you're a beginner, just trying to get that bald line out around that ear, because you kind of gotta finesse it, because you gotta hit certain angles right above that ear, and sometimes it's hard to get that clipper right in there. So, the longer you cut hair, the more you learn about, different angles to attack by, or just, different methods on getting that out. And I am switching up my guard process with this cut. I just kind of wanted to try it out, but I'm going in with my 0.5 guard or my half guard, and I'm just going up. I wanted to just go up half an inch, but I was just kind of, going through the motions, and I ended up taking it up about a whole inch, and that's what, again, ended up making this into a mid fade. So you guys just, want to be careful and make sure you're present in the moment whenever you are cutting hair, so that way you don't push your fade higher than what you want it to be. But once I set that in, I will be going back underneath it by closing the lever halfway and flicking below that and up towards the line. And it's going to soften it up. We're just going to use that 3-step process again. We're going to soften it up, and then if you still see a line, close up your guard completely and just use your corners to flick out the rest of the line. Coming right after that, I'm going to be putting out my 1.5 guard. And again, we're doing a 3-step. We're going to go ahead and open up that lever initially. And with this, I am trying to just flick into that 3 guard that we put in earlier. Just try to float it off the side of the head and flick into the length that we have on top. We're not trying to set another guideline in. We're just trying to have a consistency with the hair. Now I got my lever at the halfway position, flicking halfway through that again. And y'all bear with me with the camera, man. I know it's buggy. But anyways, going in halfway, then closing it out completely, using corners, flicking it out. And it didn't really get that line out the way I wanted it to with this process. So after I'm done doing this step, I will be coming back in after it with my 1 guard. Just doing lever play and just using my corners to do detail work and getting the rest of that line out. And right here I did notice some dark spots, so I took the guard off and I just went at it with my lever open. And then, you know, still noticing some dark spots, I'm closing it up slowly as I go lower into the fade, just to make sure I don't patch him. And now just to connect that bulk to the top, I'm just doing clipper over comb, and I'm flaring out the comb a lot so that way everything does connect pretty consistently. Now, this ain't a perfect cut by any means, but this is how my boy came in, and this is how I got him leaving. Now, if y'all do like this content, please support the channel, subscribe, comment, like. I appreciate y'all.